Rails partials slow you down. Or do they? Yeah. Partials slow you perform. Small research. Yeah. Rails
One eternity later.
partials slow your rendering performance down. Or do they? Because we thought so, but we checked that, and we would like to share our results and observation with you in this episode. Hi, Tomek.
Hi, Łukasz. Yeah, finally we have the introduction for this episode, right?
It only took 5 minutes.
Yeah, but additionally, we mentioned that we are looking at some kind of performance issue with rendering partials in earlier episodes. I think we mentioned that twice even. And we wanted to record the episode about it. We were quite excited about it, but then we ran a few tests and we discovered a few things that we will share today. And well, I'm not still so excited about it, but I think the findings are quite nice. And also, we've seen a couple of issues reported on the Rails repository and a couple of articles about the partial slowing down the rendering performance of the applications. So we thought that that's the thing, but yeah, let's see what we found out, right?
Yeah, we got fooled, but not only us. There's many more people that got fooled, and we will try to demystify a little bit what is happening here and why you may think or why you may experience that partials are a little bit slower in certain cases. Okay.
Yeah. The interesting thing is that the usually like in articles was like something like I've heard somewhere or some people were saying that partials slow down, right?
Yeah.
The performance slow down. So yeah, so I think let's jump into the code, right? Or do we want to say anything more now? No, I don't think so, right?
Let's jump into the code.
Yeah. So in our, I think we will expose that as another branch somewhere. We will not include this code changes in the main branch, but you will be able to check it. So we've introduced 3 endpoints, let's say, for the projects inline and project correction that we will tell about it on the end of the episode. But here what we do, we actually we get projects, which means that we take 5,000 projects here and we are going to render them, right? Using partial. Iterate through projects and render using partial. And first of all, you probably shouldn't do it, right? You shouldn't have like 5,000 projects rendered on a single page. Probably you will use some kind of pagination and so on. So maybe you will not see any impact. But when we've noticed the issue, actually, we've noticed the issue because we have one huge page in one project, which we are not able to make it smaller.
Yeah, there's a lot of data loaded, right? You can think about like very large Excel sheet that has some calculations ready for the user. And how many of cells do we have here? It's thousands, but
yeah, there is around for the let's say regular user is something around 5,000 to 6,000 cells in the table, right?
Yeah.
With the data, and the issue there was like we were actually rendering each cell with the partial, right? Each cell was like separate. It was a partial, right? Which we were rendering, and that's why we actually found not the issue, but where we found that it slows us down when we have like rendering the partial, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I just want to say that we started scratching our heads around that. I mean, what is going on, and do really partials slow us down when it comes to rendering? And we were really curious if there are any huge performance gains that we could get from eliminating the partials. But I think we'll share that in the end, right? As the as a summary. Yeah.
So yeah, so just wanted to mention that it's like exceptional page, right? In our case, because we like, as we mentioned, we do the small changes on the pages, and we have small partials, more small when we work with the turbo, right? And that's like only one single exception here. And so let's see how it performs here when we have like version with the partial, and we have another one with the inline. So we just like iterate projects, and we have the partial inlined here. So we run the application here. So let's try now to run the tests that run with the partial version. You can see that here we like use the K6 tool, which calls uses for users, concurrent users that are trying to get the page, and it will take 30. It will run for the 30 seconds.
Yeah. So in the code there is just this get on the projects page that renders 5,000 of projects using partial approach. As you can see, it runs for 30 seconds. Now it's gathering some results. Yep. Yeah,
and we'll look at this metric because it takes like it's the whole request duration from sending request, processing on the server, and getting the response back. So in average, it takes like 30 seconds, right? Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some min and max and so on. And if we take a look here, actually that rang the bell for us initially, right? That we were seeing this rendered and the specific partial and this duration. We were like, okay, if we have like 5,000 of them, it will give us
sums
some
up,
time,
right? It sums up, and it's just could cause the page to load much slower.
Yeah, so then we thought, okay, let's try to inline, and let's run the inline version here.
Mamma mia.
Yeah, and now you can see that we have like 25 complete versus 9 before, and the request duration from 40 seconds is like, in average, is 4-5 seconds, right?
Yeah, but stop. Don't turn off this video. Don't go removing your partials, because there is a reasoning behind that, and we will explain it. Keep still. Hold your horses.
Yeah, exactly. So then what we did, we actually then pushed the inline version to production, right? And well, we were
it helped.
It helped because on this page it was every millisecond actually was important for us, and it was, I think, in when we sum it up, it was like between 500 to 800 milliseconds, right? So something around maybe.
But keep in mind that this page is very large. Like as we mentioned, there's thousands of cells rendered, so there's a lot of data. But also one more very important thing is that this is the entry page, right? So this is the page that the user sees after the login. So it's very important that it loads like very fluently, right? So every micro optimization makes sense in our specific case. Yeah,
but still the results were we were not happy with the results, right? After seeing it, how it improved on the development, and I think remember. Development, I think development is like keyword here, right?
That's a keyword. But I remember how very surprised we were that I was this small performance improvement where it looked very promising. So we started digging.
Yeah, and I think that was actually what we should think about it. I mean, at the beginning, right? That development is always different, right, than production. We lost that, right? That thinking. Yeah. Because then, if we try to run it in the production mode, even locally here, and we run the with partial version. So now you can see that like on the production mode with the partial version, it runs like in average 2.5 seconds, right?
Mhm.
That's great, and we can try with inline version now.
Yeah, but as you can see, it's not so big anymore. So that explains our results.
Yeah, so you can see that that's what we actually got in our case on production as well. So the request duration was like 700 milliseconds in our case, faster than the partial, but it's not like huge difference like it was on the development, right? It's like just a few hundred milliseconds, which is in our case was like great, right? Still,
Yeah,
but I think if you have like regular pages where you have like smaller size of the page, like you will not notice the difference actually.
Yeah.
Usually.
I mean, you don't have to omit the partials. They're still useful. They still can help you organize your HTML or your views code, so that it's worth it. But if you need to find the some small wins, some small tweaks, especially for the entry page, then it may be something that you should consider. But okay, what is also interesting in this story, in this experiment, is what is actually causing this drop of the request duration in the production mode. What's there in the development that make it so long?
Yeah, so so basically we didn't check everything, right? Because some time limitations as always.
Yeah.
But yeah, for sure, right? For on the production mode, there are always some kind of optimizations, right? And we can be pretty sure that everything will be like will work better on the production than on the development. But yeah, okay, I will stop it for a second. But then what we've noticed also, and is I think quite interesting here, is like the logger itself for the action view, which shows this rendered and so on. This actually slows the performance on the development in the development mode a lot, right?
Mhm.
So if we change this property here, now here, and we run the Rails in the development mode, you will let's run that with partial version. Okay, so you can see that now when we change that property, when we do not log all those rendered logs here, and the performance is like
Better.
Better, right? It's like half of what it was on the beginning. It's
Yeah.
still like for the partial version on development, it's still like 6 seconds instead of inline. I don't recall, it was something around 2 or 3 seconds, I think. But yeah, still, right? There are for sure more optimizations that like are turned on by default on production, and are on the development they are not. Some of the guys are saying something about like reading the template every time from the disk and so on, but as we said, we didn't check that in such details, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think those findings are quite interesting, even especially if you see those articles where people say that partial slows performance down, and what we actually notice is, and it's also quite interesting, that in a lot of the cases when people are saying about it, they show the example and they run it on the local in the development mode, right?
Yeah, with
So
all
they
the
don't
logs.
check. Yeah, they don't check the production mode actually, which is the clue here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the main issue, the main trap that we also run into. But as I mentioned, if there is a lot of things going on in your app, in your page, it may be worth it to inline this data. But if you are just having just regular page, don't remove your partials. If you have some loading or performance issues here, it's not the place you should investigate.
Yeah. So I think we are done, but we have like one bonus content, right? For this episode, maybe, because let's run one more time the version with inline, so we will have something for the comparison here, and let's wait for the results. Okay, so we have it. It's like 4 seconds.
It was 6
and
before
now
with partial. Just to
with
remind
partial,
you.
it was 6 with the without the logging, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then we have like you could see in our code that we have one more example, which is with the collection API, and that's actually also interesting. So instead of iterating through the partials like in the parent partial, you use the collection API where you pass the projects and framework will do the iteration for you. And now we have also the test for that. There was it's K6 collection API. Yeah, and you can see that with the collections API, the results are the same like with the inline version, right?
Yeah, close, very close.
Yeah, because
Very
from what
close.
we know, it's like it takes just the partial ones, it loads the partial ones, and then it iterate with the different project.
Mm-hmm.
Fit, right?
Yeah, so that may be worth considering if you are using partials a lot. Maybe just use the collection API. It may be just more efficient as you just delegate it to framework to take care of it and make some optimizations. And that's probably in some cases maybe even better than inlining from the reading perspective, for example. So
Exactly.
I guess that's it, Tomek, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, thanks for watching. Share your thoughts about that. Remember, this is not the very scientific performance measurement. We just want to see some actual numbers that are happening from that user could feel from their perspective. Obviously, you could probably make some better benchmarks, but that was not our goal. Our goal was to get the high-level understanding what's happening with the partials and to answer the question, do they really slow you down, and if you shouldn't use the partials in your code. But I think you still should. That's the takeaway.
Yep.
Thanks for watching.
Thank you. Bye.
Ciao.